Well, finally the rumours are confirmed. There is an Evil Dead remake. Sam Raimi's not directing it, Bruce Campbell's not in it, and there's not a character in there called Ash. As you can imagine, there's some controversy over whether they should or should not have done this. I can say though that the trailer does look terrifying, and I am going to be looking forward to watching it, but we will be discussing this more in depth next month. If you want to get involved or send us your opinion, then drop a tweet to @VeggieShaz and she'll respond to you. I won't, because I'm a bit more unreliable. But for now, enjoy the trailer.
I released some evil. Oh my god! What the fuck did you do that?
Going to be one of those like, did you see Paul's original short? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I totally saw it at Grimmfest. It was awesome.
I must say I had intended to cook us an Italian. It looks like we're having Indian instead.
So we've seen you in some absolutely awesome horrors, such as The Woman, and you're now in a short called Him Indoors.
Yeah, it's a 15-minute short, and it's me and Reece Shearsmith, who you'll probably know from The League of Gentlemen, and Psycho Bill, and lots of movies. Paul Davies, who wrote and directed it, had seen The Woman, and his producer approached my agent, and that's how it started. Him Indoors refers to Reece's character, who is an agoraphobic serial killer.
Nice.
So you can imagine the complexities of that, because how do you do your lovely murdering if you can't get out your bloody door? So I help him out because I am his nosy neighbour, and where he is completely socially awkward and you know, really just doesn't want to get too close to people unless he's there on the end of his knife.
Yes. So of course it's 15 minutes long. Do you think it would have legs to become a full feature, or do you like the fact it's a short?
No, it's funny because a lot of people have said, oh, I wanted to see more, you know, I wanted to see it as a feature. I think it would also make kind of a great TV show too, the Reece's character, you know, this agoraphobic serial killer. I think it could be really interesting. But as far as the fact that it's a short, it's a beautifully written short, and it is perfect for a short because it has that, it comes back round to, you know, to the beginning. It's just a very neat and well-written story, and I think that the horror crowd will really appreciate it because it's written by a massive horror fan. Yeah. And Paul's like, you know, he's the guy with all the models, and he's got the head. Or does he have it? Yeah, he has the head from American Werewolf in London. Oh, okay. He'll probably say, actually, specifically, it's not, because there are a few. He'd know all about it, but yeah, he's a real genre fan, and it was great at Fright Fest to hear the audience just really revel in it. So
with The Woman, I mean, that was, I mean, I love The Woman, I'm a massive fan.
Doing The Woman was just a joy from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was just a real joy and real collaborative effort. And huge respect for Lucky and, you know, and the rest of the cast and the crew. I mean, I know everybody says that, blah, 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 but really, really cool people. Yeah. Who really know their stuff and are really passionate.
Did you have to get any sort of, like, did you do any research to kind of get into the character?
Yeah, I kind of did a lot of animal study and depressing going to the zoo. I mean, when you're really watching them, you know. I researched a lot of great apes, a lot of big cats, and a lot of wolves. Watched a lot of nature documentaries. Went out into the woods on my own.
Not Blair Witch style.
It was a bit scary actually, because it was in California, and there are very large bears there, and one of them saw me coming and let me know that it was there. Wow. And I have never had the fear of God put into me so suddenly.
Be kind of like, I could climb that tree.
No, I was just like, oh shit, I'm going to die. Thank you.
So what about yourself, and what are you doing at the moment? Anything?
I'm in the middle of writing my first feature called Perfect, and I've had an opportunity to talk about it today for the first time, and I'm very into it. It's getting me very excited. I sort of want to go off and write right now, to be honest.
Tell us a bit about it.
It's a drama. It's about a kind of passionate but commitment phobic comedian who's a bit of a stoner, and she goes to Spain to look after her sister's 4-month-old as her sister returns to her high-flying job in the first week that she's going back to work, and it's essentially about the difficulties of living this kind of really peripatetic life that, you know, actors and a lot of us live nowadays more and more. A lot of people in regular kind of jobs, you know, travel hours, commute hours, and always texting and always emailing, and just it's very fragmented, this modern life, you know. It's very fragmented, and it's something that I can relate to with this character that I'm writing, is finding it hard to relax and be in the now and just be in the moment. Unless I'm working. So she kind of discovers that if you have one solid task of looking after a child, and you have somebody who genuinely needs you, I mean, it's not like this daft work that we do, it's somebody who is right there, and if you're not there with it, then it's life and death. And how that kind of brings her into some peace, basically.
Hi, I'm casually sitting here with Sean Harrison. How's it going? Special effects wizard from like so many films. Just as off the top, Harry Potter.
All the Harry Potters.
Some of Star Wars as well.
Star Wars Episode 1, Episode 2, Sleepy Hollow, Fifth Element.
Wow, Fifth Element. What did you do in Fifth Element? I had to ask.
We were doing the Mangalores.
No way!
And I also bizarrely got to sculpt the lead actress's orange costume. Which was like the first thing I ever did on the job for that. Mila's costume, silicone costume.
Actually, there's a thought, Fifth Element, it's all about the fashion. It's like a fashion sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
very
you created all the costumes?
Yeah, because it was kind of the first time that the creatures were doing costumes as well. So, I mean, it was just really easy to do that. And we do that quite often, you know, you sort of get into doing stuff where, you know, if it's a makeup effect and across the costume, you know, Sleepy Hollow was something with all the decapitations. We had to make sure the costumes were the right neck levels and stuff. So yeah, it's quite an interesting.
Does that include Christopher Walken's head?
Yeah, we did Christopher Walken's head. Even though
that's amazing.
Yeah,
sorry.
And he's also scared of horses.
No way.
Yeah.
I know his weakness now.
Yeah, he's terrified. I think
if I ever have a confrontation with Christopher Walken, just find a horse.
Yeah, we had to make a mechanical horse. He wouldn't go near a real horse. So. Yeah.
Another Horrortalk exclusive.
Yes.
Now the reason you're here today at Grimmfest is because Grabbers is playing today, and you created the I don't know what to call them, creatures.
It was affectionately known as a grabber Ella. It was like the female grabber, and it was all the live action stuff, because obviously I'd say probably 80% of the stuff is digital. But the director knew, John Wright knew, that what we had to build had to interact with certain things. So we did things like the one that attacks Paddy. So we made a big sort of 6-foot silicone one.
Regarding the brief that you first received, because I mean, I've seen the design of the creatures. What were you told?
And the one thing John kept saying was, remember, it's an alien. It's not a sea creature. This is an alien creature. Just because it's in the sea, it's not a sea creature. So don't look at squids and don't look at octopus. So, and that's quite hard, because as soon as you look at the design, you go, it's an octopus. You know, it's what it is. But I mean, the main thing really was designing the main grabber, and it's kind of as simple as a ball with 13 tentacles. But it was the mouth area we had the issues with, because, you know, if it was too nasty looking, it'd kill you when it jumped onto you. And the idea is like, it shouldn't kill you straight away. It should attack you and bite you, but you should be able to pull it off.
Annoy you for a bit.
Yeah. So we went through all these different versions of teeth design and stuff, and you know, and also the whole thing about, it's kind of a sexual thing. This whole thing, which, you know, it's kind of a very weird thing to not go down that route. So and face huggers as well. So
yeah. Well, that was the other thing as well.
Yeah, we had issues over. Yeah. So we had all these designs, and John was like, no, yes, more like that, more like that. And then the baby ones, we had a brilliant concept artist called Paul Catlin. I mean, he's done every film, Prometheus, Harry Potter, Spider-Man films. He just came in, and over a couple of days did these amazing sketches, and we're like, that's it, that's the jumpers.
So you've made a name for yourself already with special effects and creature design.
Yeah.
But you're now kind of going into directing and writing as well.
Yes, that's right. Yes. I mean, I'd made short films. I've done 4 shorts: The Grave, Skeleton Crew, Uninvited, and Red Light. And I got more and more interested in it. And I did a little bit of directing on Sleepy Hollow. I directed a sequence, the Tree of the Dead sequence for that. And then Hellraiser 4, bizarrely, out in the States. I got to direct a lot of the effects stuff. So I had that sort of interest. Me and my co-writer Mark Jones, who's here with us watching Grabbers and stuff, and he's where we've written about 4 scripts. We've written a film called The Rising, Tin Can Tommies, Kill the Dead, but Decay is our first film we want to do, and it's it's a supernatural horror. And basically, it's a team of property surveyors who go to this. It's an old abandoned cotton mill, and their job is to do a safety check before the building's handed over to the contractors. And they discover an underground room that no one knew existed. And in the underground room, something very bad happened 100 years ago, which I won't go into, and it's unleashed. So they basically are trapped in this building, and there's like a sort of security guard who knows that something's gone on in there 100 years ago, and he's trying to discover it. So they're trying to get away from him, as well as these sort of spirits who have just been unleashed. So it's kind of a claustrophobic escape film, I'd say, and creepy as hell as well. And we're getting close. We've done a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It's on. We've got the website decaythemovie.com, and we're just trying to just finalise. The script's just the 5th draft's just been finished. So we're just trying to finalise the last bits before we get into casting. So I'm hoping within the next 3 months we'll be in some sort of pre-production. Alien and The Fog are my 2 sort of influences for Decay. Because it's exactly the same. It's a haunted house movie, really, being trapped. And but as soon as I don't want to. The ghosts, when you see them, you don't focus on them long enough for the audience to go, "What is that?" It's like it's gone. That's the whole point of it, really. I want to sort of put less is more.
It's surprising that you'd go into the career that you've gone into if you like films where you don't see the monster.
Yeah, because you see them. You see them every day, so it ruins it in a way that you watch them every. And you go because from a makeup guy, you know what they are. The sort of the good and bad parts of stuff. I still absolutely love seeing creature films, and but I'm thinking, if you just show a bit less, I still want to throw in people's faces all the time. I want people to actually go, this is quite creepy, and then go with it and just see what happens a bit more, and it's, definitely less is more for me.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing Decay. I'm also really looking forward to seeing Grabbers, because I haven't seen it yet. But like I said, I've seen the creature, I've seen the effects already,
Brilliant.
and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
No,
Thank you very much for your time.
No, it's been great.
And keep track of how the film's doing.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you.
Oh yes.
Well, we are very, very flattered to be asked to be on the front cover of October's Best of Liverpool magazine.
Although we're actually the best of Liverpool, so it just kind of solidifies that.
Yeah, it's official now. But also obviously kind of like because it's so glamorous as well. We've been asked to do makeup and kind of get a nice costume. So I'm picturing Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, Giorgio Armani. Do they do clothes still? I don't know.
Why have I got a funny feeling this isn't going to be quite what we think it is?
Is the red light on? I'm going to say that all day now. Is the red light on, Michelle?
It sure is.
Still?
Yep. He's ready
Tonight,
for his...
Matthew, I'm going to be...
A maniac!
Armageddon, open your doors! Accentuate my cheekbones, reduce the kind of like the shadow under my chin, and just really ping out the colour of my eyes.
What do you think?
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Is that the London look, Rimmel?
Yeah, baby. Maybe she's born with it.
When she starts sweating, that starts cooking.
So what's this stuff made out of then?
Sheep.
Alright.
I'm ready for my pig
Sorry.
This stuff's called collodion, and it's just for doing scars. So as it
It is making my face feel stiff.
it will sort of create a scar effect on your cheek. Just as it dries, it just tightens.
Cool.
So we're here with Graham Fletcher-Hill, my new potential husband, and a completely awesome photographer. So can you introduce yourself and just tell us a bit about how you got into horror photography?
I got into photography initially doing weddings and portraits, bumbling along doing that, and then Richard Farmageddon sort of needed some photos doing about 4 or 5 years ago now of their latest setup. So I came down, we took a few shots, and kind of went from there really. I think the great thing is you can really like self-go because you've got characters who really want to try something a bit different, and the lighting is obviously extreme, so I just love all of that.
Yeah, what was been your best picture that you've ever took? What was the scene, other than the one you've done today?
Well, funny enough, it was someone in a bride's outfit,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a contrast to what normal weddings. And there's some fantastic sort of features in this building. And she was stood in the kitchen, blood dripping down her face, and it just looked absolutely awesome. So.
And do you have a website we can go see all your shots?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a website specifically for this thing called www.monstershots.co.uk.
Actually, what I look like. Sort of making it on the front cover of the horror special. Just put on a big coat, that looks scary. No, just take the picture. Yeah, Michelle.
There was once a writer named Jack who was really more of a hack. Locked into a freeze and tugged at the keys until his fingers turned black.
So I understand it's based on true story, so tell us about that.
I had the worst case of writer's block I've ever had in my life.
Okay.
So what I started doing was Googling slaughterhouse, meat cooler, freezer, anything I could think of.
Yeah.
I had a character locked in a freezer, and that was as far as I could go. So I had writer's block. I started Googling, and I came across this slaughterhouse that was in the middle of nowhere. It was abandoned. And I called the owners and said, do you mind if I come out there and just hang out? When I got there, I asked them, will you lock me in your freezer and don't let me out until the script is finished? I spent 5 days in their freezer, and we shot the script in the same location as where I wrote it.
Really? It's exactly the same one?
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What was it like casting it? Because of course you got a legend like Michael Berryman in it, Hills of Eyes, kind of crazy guy, although I'm sure he's lovely in real life. But and then you've got Edward Furlong and all that. So what was it like casting it? Was it kind of a bit of a dream? Or?
Casting was a strategic choice. We, as a member of the horror fan tribe, I know that fellow horror fans are extraordinarily giving and open to new films and new talents, but also we know when we're being sort of cynically marketed to, and so it was important to me to have a Michael Berryman, which brought us a lot of good credibility. Thank you, good credibility. It became a strategic choice where it's important to secure the base. I think that a lot of modern movies have learned that if you get the fans of the genre first, and then you can also appeal to the mainstream, and we wanted to do both. So we got Michael Berryman, we secured our base like a political campaign, and knowing the horror fans would like him, but we also wanted to. I mean, we needed a bigger crowd. We're trying to make a living off of this too, you know. And Eddie Furlong has a long storied career. I mean, he was in one of the Crow movies, Terminator 2, of course. You know, even Animal Factory was a nice gritty drama, and American History X. So we decided to expand into the mainstream using Eddie, and then we got lucky with Kristen Booth, a Toronto-based actress who came on very late and who is extraordinarily talented. She played Ethel Kennedy in the Kennedys miniseries opposite Barry Pepper, and Greg Kinnear and Katie Holmes were in that. And it's just been the casting was a dream. I mean, everyone was a team player. Little Sadie Madu plays a little kid in the movie.
I was just going to say, how did you cast him? Were you like, just get the one who looks the creepiest? Or was it just...
Well,
don't tell me it's one of your children now. I'll ruin it all.
Sadie is actually anything but a creepy little boy. She was a little girl who came to the audition disguised as a little boy.
That's a girl?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yes.
Bless her.
Sadie's the absolute best. I was out of town when Sydney was casting the little kids, and so she sent me a DVD of all the auditions. And if Dante has a circle of hell just for me, it's going to be watching bad child auditions on DVD over and over again.
What's your favourite horror film?
Oh, well, it's impossible to make a list of just one. I mean, come on. But
Try.
if I had to, David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Okay. Good choice.
When I was 16 years old, I went to the movies with a bunch of my friends, 1986, and with a bunch of my friends, and they all wanted to see Dirty Dancing or something, I don't remember what, but I convinced them all to go see The Fly.
And they're no longer your friends.
That is exactly right. When Gina Davis gives birth to the giant slimy maggot, they all flee, and I go, yes! And then I knew that I didn't relate to any of my friends. So,
well, again, I really enjoyed Below Zero, and I'm sure audiences out there will as well. So when's it out in the UK? Do you know yet?
That's a good question. We're just waiting to hear when we're going to be releasing it here. It is available on our website at belowzeromovie.com.
Okay.
And we've had our North American release, and stay tuned for when you guys will be the first to know when we have it released.
you write your representative in Parliament and get the movie over here.
Will do.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you very much for the interview today. It's been lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Who's buried in Midian? Ain't nothing but dead folk.
Somewhere, hidden from sight, closer than you might think, is a place that's not on
Hi horror
any
fans.
map.
Okay, so currently with some absolute legends, and I'm having a bit of a meltdown. So here with Simon Bamford and Nicholas Vince from Nightbreed and Hellraiser, and probably my current hero, the guy who's put together Nightbreed the Cabal Cut, which I've just seen for the first time, but we won't tell many people that I've just seen that for the first time, but that was absolutely brilliant. I would just like to say that's absolutely awesome. Can I just say
When you're a Nightbreed virgin.
I'm a Nightbreed virgin, and I'm literally like going, oh my god, right now, so loving it.
Thank you.
So is this, so you looked at it in Fright Fest, you did this in Fright Fest, and then you've done it here, so what's the reception been like?
Well, unanimously, people really are excited because they never thought that they would see Nightbreed like this. They always accepted that Nightbreed was a film that was a kind of cult thing, that you either dug it or you didn't, and it was very different than Clive Barker's novel of Cabal, and what you watch tonight is Cabal.
Simon and Nicholas, so for you guys, so of course 25 years ago this was made and it should have been perfect, and then it wasn't, and now it's finally here, it's finally with us. So what has this been like for you guys?
Seeing it again is amazing after all these years, because you don't expect any film that you've made to actually have the chance to come back and see it in the format that it was supposed to be seen in. It was a mess. I think it was a mess. It's actually interesting, over the years going to conventions talking about Hellraiser, and then the amount of people who have actually said to me how much they like Nightbreed in its original form, so there was a fan base for it there. And that's fine, but it was never the movie that was supposed to be made. It was always supposed to be Cabal, which is a completely different story with a completely different slant to it, as you've just seen.
Yeah.
With the monsters being the goodies and the humans being the baddies, and the film is all about their persecution and their inability to live peacefully.
Yeah.
So at the time when I think they were making it, there were in the producer's mind, there were probably sound financial, marketing reasons for doing what they did, which Clive talked about. When Clive wrote about this, he was pointing out the large, huge amounts of money that go into making something like Nightbreed. The prosthetics are not cheap, etc. But I think, echoing what Simon's saying, it's the reaction from people who've seen the movie has been extraordinary. And I think just reminding ourselves it's only because there has been such a strong reaction that Russell's been able to do as much as he has been able to do. It's because obviously it's all Russell's very, very hard work and so on, but without the people behind the Occupy Midian website and so on, who really supported this and kept the interest going and so on, this just wouldn't have been possible. And that is fascinating.
Yeah.
It is really interesting. I think the first time I walked onto the Midian set was when I really realised how big a production this is, because it's 3 stories high. It was just amazing, and of course it always amazes me, the detail that goes into these things, and also just the number of monsters. That, going through it that was just really exciting. To see all the imagination that was coming in from image animation.
It was a big difference for Nick and I as well, because having worked on Hellraiser and Hellbound, where we couldn't actually see anything, we were encased in latex to be freed from that.
I was just about to say,
more
were
so
you
in
kind of
my
like,
case.
woo, look at me, I'm in nothing, I'll just go home now, you're like, I'm in this massive head again, that's just brilliant.
There were endless, all the poor endless extras kind of queuing up to be encased in latex.
I mean, wasn't it originally going to be a trilogy? I heard that Nightbreed was going to be kind of like a Barker trilogy, and then...
I was, certainly it was going to have a sequel, and I was going to, although Anarka was killed, I was promised that I would be coming back as my twin sister.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I was going to be this topless beauty with some rather perfect prosthetic tits. So,
Fair enough.
I was really looking forward to spending some time on the set like that. It's a bit late now.
But I think the thing is that Nightbreed isn't dead because there's lots of interest in it now.
Yeah.
And I have at home a treatment that Clive's written about a continuation of the story. And it's a moot point whether it becomes televisual or whether it's another film, whether it's 3. Clive never writes one thing to be just one bespoke thing. There's always a lot of background to it. He writes multiple stories as he's writing the story that he's working on. So really, Nightbreed have another story. I mean, I have another story for Nightbreed because, I want to know what happened to them 22 years later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's obviously, we want to get this actually out. I need to own it on Blu-ray, so just for me, can we just sort this out? So what do people need to do to kind of make sure that this gets made? What can they do?
You can go on Facebook and they can sign up to Occupy Midian as a Facebook group, and then they can follow that pathway to a petition. They can also follow that pathway to occupymidian.com, and they can see everything there. They can see all the screenings. But the one thing you've got to do is say that you want to own it, you want to buy it, that on first day of release you will get it.
Yeah.
That makes ka-ching, because film studios have dollars in their eyes.
Yeah.
That's at first when they laughed at Mark Miller because he wanted to do this, they thought nobody would want to watch it. It's a dead kind of movie. And then all of a sudden, when they realised, they sent somebody to watch it in North Carolina. And then the next screenings, we sold out 2 screenings in Los Angeles, and then the next day they rang me up, which is kind of like a huge turnaround for, that's like turning a super tank around in a canal.
Yeah.
So they turned around and all of a sudden they wanted to do, and now they send us emails, they send people to us, they've given us rights for a year to screen it, we can make a documentary, we can do all the things. We've got 2 producers dealing with them in relation to releasing it, and an English distributor this week asked me if they could distribute it, and they're a big name, so the people really want to do it.
That's brilliant.
From the imagination of Clive Barker comes Nightbreed.
Hey everyone, I'm here with the cast and crew of Before Dawn, the awesome new zombie horror film. So thanks guys, thanks for coming today. Excited. So what can you tell the horror fans at home what it's all about?
Go on, I'll give it a go. Go on. It's about the disintegration of the human body and also the human emotions and the disintegration of society and a relationship against the backdrop of a zombie apocalypse.
Nice. Deep then?
Yes.
Deep and zombies?
Yeah. But on the surface it's about a couple going away for a make or break weekend, and the wife goes out for a run in the morning and is bitten, and it's how they cope with the effects of that.
Okay, so what spurred on the idea for this film? Dominic. Nikki, what spurred on the ideas? We'll ask you.
Well, basically, you look right in them glasses. Wafting chocolate.
Yeah, I'll tell you after I've read my chocolate.
It was basically me and Joe went away for a weekend, and
you disintegrated, and you went right.
We just disintegrated, yeah, and she bit me. I thought, right.
Yeah, that happens a lot in our relationship.
And we just thought,
you had a difference of opinion, didn't you?
Yes, we had a difference of opinion about horror films and what she hated about them, what I liked about them. And so we threw out what she didn't like, and then we put in what she liked about films, like European films in particular, about character studies that are missing from a lot of zombie films. So and having a depth rather than just like people taking tops off, screaming and getting slashed and things like that, which I love, but Jo didn't. She won. And it was just a hypothetical idea that then turned into a screenplay. We passed on the details and the description of each scene, how we wanted it done, and then and we were kind of hoping that maybe it would be a script. And so that was done by Mark Hillis, and then it was passed around to different people for backing, and then Helen Grace kindly became our producer and helped make it work along with Mark Price.
Yeah, Fantastic. So what was it like sort of putting the whole thing together?
Well, you see, Dominic is such an... I was actually astonished how accomplished a filmmaker Dominic is. It's his first feature film, and he's got kind of this heavy-duty day job, as you well know, and yet kind of his attention to detail and his kind of work ethic across the whole movie was just phenomenal, really. It really is Dominic's film from start to end.
So who made the decision on the zombies? Because, I mean, I don't know yet, are they fast, are they slow, are they a different type?
There was a few different things. We had the idea for the makeup, we knew we wanted them to be fast zombies as well. And then the movement choreographer, Dave Nolan, as well, had very specific thoughts of where they'd come from and what diseases had affected them. So we had the core idea that it would be a virus that pushed out the human being that was inside the
and they needed
body.
to be ferocious. They needed to be fast for this particular story, and then we, as Dom said, we handed it to Dave, and he thought about the movement and where it comes from. There was the rabies influence. There was the Parkinson's influence, and we watched some YouTube stuff, which was interesting.
Yeah.
And there's little subtleties in the film where I don't know if anyone really notices, but there's every now and again a glass of water's plonked there, and she can't drink it because it's very subtle. It's not sort of like she's sort of frothing at the mouth, but it's there. So it was important for us as actors to know where it was coming from, instead of just sort of putting teeth and eyes in and lots of blood, So it came from something. It was an organic process.
Okay. I mean, I've seen the trailer, and the trailer looks quite bloody, quite gory, a little bit Evil Dead, kind of like, it's really sort of back to basics, but in a good way, because you can CGI the hell out of everything these days, I think. So what was it like to make that? Were you kind of all bathing in blood for the whole time?
Nikki, specifically, you got involved in a heavy, over 2 days, bloody sequence because you were murdered.
Yeah, the last one was I remember that last day of being on the cellar floor, did a particular bloody scene in someone's flat. Well, we must have gone through a few gallons that day, didn't we? Yeah, I remember it, but to me that's the fun element in it. Special effects and all them kind of gore, to me that feels like you're making a film. You can be doing Shameless sometimes, and it's very real life and stuff like that, but you miss a lot of movie magic. So for me, doing something like that, getting stabbed and bit, and now it's an actor's dream, innit?
We were filming at Dominic's house, a lot of the film, and the neighbours, and they had children, and we were screaming for the first few days, weren't we? And they had to be sort of appeased with a bottle of wine, I think, on that day, I remember. It's hard not to, because a lot of the time, especially later on in the filming, we were sort of screaming silently, really. And that's quite hard, and obviously,
That would be hilarious, because I know when I have parties, I have to put flyers through my neighbours. So I'm having a party, so I hope you don't mind if you want to come. So it's a bit different. We're going to be screaming.
You might hear
we'll have a safe word if it actually is an emergency.
Because I remember you leathered into the goals, absolutely smashing the hell out of it, saying, "Lightman! Lightman!"
And then they were terrified. She was absolutely terrified.
Sounded like domestic, didn't it?
The next day, for sale, the sign goes up.
Well, she knew, wasn't it? She stuck, because we lived this house in the middle of nowhere, and she stuck her head around the corner. Didn't have a clue who you were, and you were battered and bruised. And she's like, she's just petrified, sort of bottle of wine.
Horrortalk TV, it's bloody good.
This is those famous twins Nick and Simon watching Horrortalk TV.
It's bloody good!
Horrortalk TV, it's bloody good. And right now, I'm having my spine removed.
Should we do it on 3, 2, 1?
Okay.
Horrortalk TV, it's bloody good.
Hi, I'm Mojana Alawi, Horrortalk TV. It's bloody good.
Hi, I'm Warwick Davis and Horrortalk TV. It's bloody good.
Let me tell you something. You on? Yeah. Let me tell you something. Horrortalk TV is fucking great.
And it's bloody good.
It's bloody good. It's fucking great as well. Now fuck off.